What up, boys? Undead here, back again for another Shadowlands beta video. And I know I said this before and it was a lie, but this time it won't be a lie. Today's gonna be a short video. Right now on beta for the past, I don't know, 24, 30 hours or so, pretty much all end game progression is just scuffed, completely broken. You can't select anima powers and Torghast. You can't select soulbinds. Mythic Plus doesn't exist. I guess what else is there to do? I mean, there's raid testing that I'm not participating in. Basically, there's nothing to do. You can't pick up professions if you didn't have them already. So, just leveling other characters. There's not much I can progress in and give you insight into like what the progression process is going to be like. But I got a question on one of the other videos about my thoughts on the weekly vault, which is the new weekly reward system, your weekly cash. So we're just going to talk about how this works. Is it dope? Is it not dope? And what you should expect when this system comes in. So they haven't really discussed any details of how this will work, but it's pretty self-explanatory from the user interface, and I'll explain how I understand the item levels of these different tiers work, like how you get the best drop, right? So we'll start with the Mythic Dungeon, just because this is gonna function similarly to what we're used to, right? So you complete one Mythic Dungeon and an item ends up here. It'll be whatever the tier is, whatever number it is that you have to do for the max reward, whether it's 10 or 15 at the beginning. It used to be 10 earlier on in BFA, if you remember, and then it was bumped up to 15 as 15s became more feasible and doable. Like season 1 or something, there was King's Rest was barely even done on 20, so doing your weekly chest at 15 would have been too high. But we'll see what they do. We'll see how the tuning is there. But whatever the number is, you will complete that key, and then this will unlock. And then as you complete more dungeons, so say you do 4 dungeons, it'll take whatever the lowest dungeon is of the top 4 that you did, and that will be the item level of this reward. So this takes your best dungeon of the week will be here. The lowest of your best 4 dungeons will be here. So say you do 3 10s and then you do an 8 to get your 4th one. The reward here will be that you would have gotten from a +8. And then the same thing for +10. So if you do 15 dungeons and 10 of them are +15s and 3 are +10s and 2 are +8s, you'll get a +8 reward. However, if you do like 17 dungeons, 12 are +10s, or 12 are 15s, 3 are +10s, and 2 are 8s. Or something like that. I'm fucking up the numbers here. But basically, if your top 10 dungeons are at the item level threshold that you want to be at, then the reward will still be here. They mentioned that it'll be the lowest dungeon you did, but I'm fairly certain the way they meant to word it was your lowest dungeon of your top 10. So you're not punished for doing keys with like friends that play at a lower level or something, or doing carries or anything. As long as you're not expecting those dungeons to be what gets you to your cap, right? You have to do 10 relevant dungeons to make this reward a relevant item level reward. Now the same should hold true for PvP. I don't know exactly how the PvP is going to work. Maybe it's whatever your rating level is when you earn those points. I don't know how they're going to do it. It might be whatever your rating is, whatever the highest rating you get to that you get a singular win at. PvP is yet to be seen. I will probably not do much testing on this. We'll just wait for actual PvPers to come out and figure out how this is going to be solved. But that gets you another 3 options for the gear that you want. And then the raid, this I'm a little nervous about the numbers here. So this raid has 10 bosses, keep in mind. Right? Let me just make sure I'm not talking out my ass. The raid has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bosses. So 3 bosses, 7 bosses, 10 bosses. In order to get the maximum reward here, you'll have to be in on every boss and not sit. Which for a lot of people that play at like a middling level, well, not a middling level, but a high level, but not like a top world, I know just enjoy sitting once prog's over and letting new players get in. They don't want to play anymore, and this is going to make those players feel like they have to keep playing. I actually don't know if I think this is a bad thing. I think it's fine, actually. Because if there's still items in the raid that you need gear for, I mean, it's going to feel worse to sit out for other players that do need gear off a specific boss that you don't need, because it's going to sacrifice your weekly chest option. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't know how big a deal having one of these options be like heroic raid level instead of mythic raid level is going to be a big deal. We'll see. Also depends on how powerful the unique effect weapons or not weapons or trinkets or whatever items have unique effects end up being in the raids. Because sometimes you have tiers like I guess old deer really, where a lot of the trinkets were just like, eh. And bod too. Trinkets were good. They were good for raid. They weren't insane for raid. And then they were like decent for dungeons. Things changed obviously with the following 2 tiers as trinkets became very good. Things like Vita, Coral, Ink Pod, Edict, Urchin, Lure, all these things were obviously very good in dungeons and in raids, so it mattered more. But overall, I think this change is really cool. This is something I've been I always thought it was weird that BFA removed the bi-weekly raid mission. If you remember in Legion, every other week you got a mission based on the amount of total bosses on X difficulty you'd killed that tier so far. So once you hit like a breakpoint for you've killed like 12 heroic bosses this tier, it was a heroic piece, and then once you hit that breakpoint for mythic bosses, it was an extra mythic piece that you could just get for doing a town hall mission, which I just thought was cool. It was just another option for gear. It always feels good when you have more chances to get specific pieces that you want. Rather than just being like, all right, I get 1 shot a week, I bonus roll it. If I don't get it, I'm fucked. Even if these don't significantly increase the odds of you getting it, I think it just feels good to have another shot, right? But yeah, you'll fill out as many of these as you can basically, and then you get to pick 1 piece from all the rewards you have available, and you just take that piece. And I think I think if it was just 3, I think if it was just these first 3, the system would already be good. It would already be great. Go kill 3 raid bosses, complete a dungeon, get a little bit of conquest in you, and then you can choose your item once a week from 3. But the fact that they added 3 tiers, I think is sick. This gives you the option to, like, whatever character you're really working on getting gear for is probably the one that you're going ham on as well, right? Like, I know whenever I'm transitioning from one character to another, for whatever reason, I want to start playing it in Mythic Plus or whatever, I'm usually ignoring my previous character and I'm playing the one that I'm trying to get gear on. And just by playing the character, I'm going to fill these out, right? And you just get more options. So you get a more targeted piece. So I think this is a really dope change. I think when it first came out, people saw the end rewards and they're like, oh my god, I gotta do 10 raid bosses, I gotta do 15 dungeons, because this was 15 dungeons. I don't know how long this conquest is gonna be. And it was like, man, I don't want to do all that this week. But then, like, you gotta remember, if you just do 1 mythic dungeon, it's the same as it was previously. If you do 1 mythic dungeon, you kill 3 bosses, it's better than it previously was already. Like, so they give you the upward limit. Do as much as you want. On alts, probably don't have to, but you don't feel like it was pointless to have fun on your alts because, oh man, I already got my mythic dungeon done. Why am I even playing this all? Like, I just collect the loot when I get there. At least you're progging something. You're giving yourself more options. I think it's really good, and I think it'll remove a pain point for a lot of people, which is some item that's particularly powerful for your class or spec, and it takes you forever to get it, and this just helps alleviate that a little bit. So Curious what you guys think too. If there's anything that I'm incorrect about in how exactly this works, please let me know. I don't think they've released too many details about it. It's kind of just been speculation and like a tidbit or two here and there. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Like the video if you enjoyed this. Please subscribe to the channel. There'll be more stuff coming from beta. Hopefully actual endgame prog stuff and hopefully class stuff. The rogue's max level. I almost have DK maxed out. And then we'll figure out what we're doing next. I'm probably doing Shaman, but I'm like really interested in Shadow Priest now. So might shake things up a bit, do Shadow Priest. So we'll see. The DK will be there soon. We'll have an Unholy video coming in a bit once I can actually like do dungeons on Unholy. And the DK's leveled up. So keep an eye out for that. Subscribe if you want to get notified. And I will see you guys next time.